Hey guys, today I'm going to go through 10 common phrasal verbs that we use in English a lot, and I'm going to try and use them in the context of autumn or fall. So we'll go through them and I'll try to give examples using sentences that one might use during the autumn, or maybe use words in the sentences that are associated with autumn often. So let's get started. The first phrasal verb that we'll go through is turn on. So I turned on the television because the Thanksgiving Day parade was on. We can also go the other direction with that phrasal verb, and instead of saying turn on, we can say turn off. So a sentence we might use with turn off is, I turned off my leaf blower because my neighbor was trying to sleep and the noise was too loud. Another commonly used phrasal verb is put on. So we often use put on when we're referring to some kind of clothing. So I put on my sweater because the sun went behind a cloud. Now the opposite of put on is take off. So we can say, I took off my sweater because I wanted to go bobbing for apples. Bobbing for apples, that's probably a weird one for many of you. So bobbing for apples is a pastime that many Americans like to do during the autumn. Often during Halloween parties, it's very popular. And so basically what you do is you get a very large container, I'd say maybe 1 meter long by 1/2 meter wide. You fill it full of water, and then you put a bunch of apples inside of the water. Then you tie your hands behind your back so you can't move your arms or your hands at all. And then you have to bite one of the apples inside of the container and pull it out with only your mouth. So that's bobbing for apples. That's actually a very popular thing to do during the autumn months in the United States. All right, so our next phrasal verb is find out. So find out means to learn something. So you could say, I found out that my sister was not coming to Thanksgiving because she was going on vacation to Mexico. All right, our next phrasal verb is to give up. So to give up means to stop doing something. So you can say, I gave up raking my yard because there were just too many leaves. Now raking is something that maybe some of you aren't familiar with as a verb. To rake means to gather together or to collect things, and it's often used in reference to leaves, because every autumn, as the leaves fall off the trees, they land in people's yards, and in order to clean your yard, you have to rake away the leaves. So you gather them together in a big pile, and then you can throw them away after that. Occasionally, you can jump into the pile of leaves, which is very fun to do. Or if you're playing hide and seek, you can hide inside of the leaves, and that's typically an excellent place to hide, but you have to be careful. Another example of how you can use the phrasal verb give up would be, I gave up eating sweets because my doctor said they weren't good for me. All right, our next phrasal verb is to put away. So to put away means to put something in its place. So you could say, I put away my summer clothes because fall has arrived. So you put away your summer clothing because you don't need it anymore. It's too cold to wear that clothing, so you put it away. All right, our next phrasal verb is throw away. Throw away means to put something in the garbage or to put something in the trash. And so a sentence we can use, we can combine this with our raking sentence from earlier. So we can say, after I raked the leaves in my yard, I threw them away. So after you had all of your leaves collected in one place in your yard, you put them in the garbage. You threw them away. All right, our next phrasal verb is to fill in. So to fill in means to give missing information. So if we wanted to use fill in a sentence, we could say, when I went to the haunted house, I had to fill in a form before they would let me in. So maybe this is a form that says that you're a certain age, or maybe this is a form that says you have permission from your parents, or any other kind of form. Maybe a form that says the haunted house isn't responsible if you trip and hit your head somewhere. So fill in. Fill in is often used when we're talking about paperwork. All right, another common phrasal verb is get along. And get along is often used with the word with at the end. So we would say, I get along well with my sister. In fact, we often bake pies together during the autumn. All right, another example might be, I get along well with my boss because she always gives me the month of November off. That would be a fantastic boss, actually. So, to get along with, to have a good relationship with. All right, let's go on to some more phrasal verbs. Another one is to call off. So to call something off means to cancel. So I called off my Halloween party because I got sick. That's an unfortunate reason to call off your party for, but occasionally it happens. Okay, our next phrasal verb is to calm down. So when one calms down, it means that they're becoming less angry, or they're relaxing after they were angry. So an example might be, I calmed down after the football game was canceled, but it took me a long time. Another example might be, it took me a long time to calm down after my brother ate my pumpkin pie. Oh, don't touch my pumpkin pie. That's my favorite pie. My favorite dessert, actually. Yeah, that would take me forever to calm down. All right, our next phrasal verb is catch up. So to catch up means to get to the same point as another person. So an example of catch up would be, during the race, it took me forever to catch up with my grandmother. So in this example, my grandmother must be very fast, because it took me forever to catch up with her, which means it took me forever to get to the same point as her in the race. All right, our next phrasal verb is to do over. And do over means to do again. This one is frequently used, and it's often used with something in between the word do and over. And that something is the thing that you're doing again. So you would say, I had to do my homework over because when I was going to school, I dropped it in the mud. Or, I had to do the snowman over because my sister hit it with her car. I guess my sister's not a very good driver. All right, so our next phrasal verb is to figure out. Okay, and so like do over, we often have something in between the figure and the out. And so this phrasal verb means to understand something or to find the answer. And so the word that we put in between the figure and the out is the thing that we're trying to understand. So we would say, our teacher let us out of school early because we figured the problem out quickly. Another example that we can use is, I figured out how to use the oven, so I baked myself a nice pumpkin pie. All right, our next phrasal verb is to look for. Look for means to search for something or to try to find something. So you could say, I was looking for my new sweater underneath the couch because I saw my dog chewing on it there. That's somewhat of a strange sentence, but who knows? Maybe you have a dog who is very fond of your sweaters. Another example sentence could be, I was looking for a present for my mother and I found the perfect thing. So you are searching for something to give your mother, and you found it. All right, our next phrasal verb is wake up. So to wake up, of course, means to stop sleeping. So she woke up because she had too many pumpkin spice lattes from Starbucks. Yeah, that'll do it every time, won't it? Those things will get you, man. Those things will get you. Okay, our next phrasal verb is turn down. So to turn down means to refuse. So you could say, I turned down the invitation to go to Thanksgiving with my friend's grandmother because it's weird that your friend's grandmother is inviting you to Thanksgiving. But hey, she's a very friendly woman. Okay, so turn down, to refuse. And so to refuse, that sounds kind of harsh, but when you turn something down, that implies that you're doing it in a slightly softer way. So when you say turn down, it often sounds like you're refusing to do something in a more polite way. So you could say, I turned down the invitation to go out with friends because I was feeling a little bit sick. All right. Another phrasal verb that's often used in English, particularly American English, is the phrasal verb to keep on. And so this means to continue doing what you're doing. So you keep on doing something. So an example would be, I kept on washing my dog even though she clearly did not like water. So you continued to wash your dog even though your dog didn't like it very much. And sometimes with dogs, when they get dirty, man, they can be nasty. You got to just keep on cleaning them. All right. Another phrasal verb that's often used in English is hold on. So hold on means wait for a moment. So you can tell someone to hold on, please. So you can say, hold on, I didn't understand you. Or hold on, what are you saying? So you're sort of inviting someone to wait for a second. Another phrasal verb that's used a lot in English is go over. And so to go over something means to review something. So you can say, I go over my receipt when I leave the store to make sure I wasn't charged extra. So it means when you leave the store, you look at your receipt again just to make sure there's not a charge there that shouldn't be there. So to go over, to review. You can put it in the past tense and say, I went over recipe to make sure I didn't forget any of the ingredients. So you reviewed the recipe again to make sure you had everything you needed to make the dish. Hopefully it's a Thanksgiving dish or an autumn dish of some kind. Or maybe an apple pie. That does sound delicious right now. An apple pie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Yes, please. All right. Our next phrasal verb is to hang out. And so hang out is one that you'll hear a lot because it means to spend time kind of relaxing with people or just chilling, hanging out. So you're not doing anything in particular, you're just enjoying the pleasure of other people's company. So you can say, I don't have much to do on Saturday. Do you want to hang out then? So there's nothing going on Saturday, so you might as well get together then to hang out, to enjoy each other's company and just relax. Another very common phrasal verb in English is to point out. And so to point out means to show. So you can say, he pointed out the best places to go fishing on the map. So he showed you the best places to go fishing on the map. He pointed them out. All right, another fairly common phrasal verb in English is the phrasal verb to carry on. And to carry on means to continue. So he carried on walking even though he was quite tired. So he continued to walk even though he was getting tired. And I promise that's not happening to me. I love to walk. I could probably walk all day and find it exceptionally fun. All right, another phrasal verb that's used quite a lot, I would say, is the phrasal verb to come across. And that just means to find something out by chance or to discover something by chance. So you can say, as I was walking, I came across a creek I had never seen before. So as I was walking, I discovered or found by chance this creek that I didn't know was there. And what is creek? A creek is a word for a small river, a very small river. Kind of like the ones we passed a little bit earlier. All right, so with that, guys, we've gone over some of the most commonly used phrasal verbs in English. I hope this lesson was helpful for all of you. Subscribe below, give us a like if you found this video helpful, and let us know in the comments section what else you'd like to learn about or see in our next walk and study lesson. Thanks, guys. Take care.